from the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel. This is a severe weather alert.
Good afternoon, everybody. Taylor Plott here alongside Chief Meteorologist Fred Gossage and Chase Wilson. Time is now 2:26. New severe thunderstorm warning in effect for parts of Madison, Jackson, and into parts of Franklin County and very far sliver is Lincoln County. But Lincoln, you're pretty much under a severe thunderstorm warning anyway with that cell moving in from the west. But our new warning does include the heart of Madison County. So from Hazel Green down towards Meridianville, towards Huntsville, down towards Hampton Cove, all the way down towards about Ditto Landing, South Huntsville area, down towards Owens Crossroads, Gurley, Maysville, New Market, and Plevna also in this warning up there in two parts of Lincoln County. And then in Jackson County includes Holly Tree down towards Pleasant Grove, Woodville, Paint Rock, even down toward the Aspel community, almost towards High Top and Skyline right there.
International is gusted to 60 miles an hour.
Okay, so this is confirmed now. So Huntsville International Airport has gusted to 60 from this area right here. So it looks like we're going to have, right in this area. So there's damaging winds now moving into the Redstone Arsenal area. This will include the western side, that kind of that old mill area on the west side of Huntsville. That West Huntsville area right there along Drake Avenue and Bob Wallace Avenue, 54 being shown here on the Doppler radar right on top of Research Park and UAH. Also maybe upwards of 60 to 65 crossing the river here in Ditto Landing. So I would say anywhere along the parkway from about downtown Huntsville all the way south towards the river, you're going to be dealing with some pretty hefty winds here, maybe 50, 60, can't even completely rule out up to 70 miles per hour in some of these spots. So if you're living in Jones Valley, over there towards the old Grissom High School, over towards Mountain Gap, the Challenger area, down towards the Farley community, Green Cove Road, down towards the south part of the city, all the way towards Hampton Cove and Highway 431, you need to be hunkered down here. I don't think you need to really take your tornado precautions, but I would recommend you kind of get as far away from walls, the exterior walls, as you can in case something does happen. You get a tree that gets knocked down. So I would definitely hunker down here if you live along the parkway, specifically Parkway and probably going towards the east side of Huntsville. It looks like the wind's just about to cross the parkway right now, at least according to the radar. And then you have this little spot that Chase has his little cursor on right here on top of the southeastern part of Huntsville, right there along Green Cove Road where Bailey Cove and Green Cove meet, going up towards Green Mountain and then going over the mountain towards the Hampton Cove area. That's where it looks like that pocket of some heavier wind is located. Does look like, Chase, at least there's some gusty wind potential all the way up towards Meridianville and Hazel Green, but it doesn't look as pronounced, if you will, on the velocity data as it does from about, I would say, downtown Huntsville and then further to the south. What do you think?
I agree with that, and it's actually kind of telling because that's actually lower in the beam, right? So the radar is scanning here, for example, at 1,500 feet, so pretty much right over Montesano.
Yeah.
And we're seeing some streaks in there. You notice higher, lower, higher, lower.
Yep.
You can kind of see that there. So you might get some elevated 50, maybe up to 60 within there, but I really think from downtown south is the more elevated signature where you're almost definitely, I would say, getting 60, maybe up to 65 down here. I think the further south one here that continues to kind of push out near Hampton Cove, that's probably our big winner right now, I would say, as far as the wind, the highest wind gusts are concerned.
Let's do this. Do a squall track and take it from right about Alabama A&M.
Sure. And
kind of draw it kind of very close to parallel with the, and then kind of curve back down here to capture that and take it off towards the, about 40 to 45 miles per hour. So this looks like this is going to be where the core of the damaging wind potential is going to be. So moving into the Mountain Heights community right now, Ryland at 223, Owens Crossroads at 233, Montesano State Park at 233, Maysville at 238, Gurley 244, Paint Rock, Woodville around 245 to 250, Holly Tree at 253, Pleasant Groves 257, Aspel, Skyline, Scottsboro right around 3 o'clock. Do the show range go down to about 10 because that's going to capture some of the other landmarks here. So here we go. So if on top of the ledges right now, the golf course up there on the mountain is impacting the ledges here right now, or at least relatively soon. Hampton Ridge, River Ridge, Mountain Heights now, and I called out Ryland. Hampton Cove, so that's going to include the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, RTJ, Hampton Cove at about 234, Doug Hill 235, Berkeley and Moontown 237, and then Maysville, Brownsboro, and McMullen Cove right around 238 to 240. So again, that's going to be kind of that leaning edge right here of that best chance at some gustier winds. As Chase mentioned, maybe upwards of maybe 60 miles per hour. Cannot completely rule out maybe something a little bit higher, because that's 72, and that's what, about 2,000 feet?
If
that.
60 at the airport, that could be 70 to 75 right there.
Yeah.
Right here, that's 1,300 feet.
Okay, let's focus in on that, because that's going to be some significant damaging winds moving into the Hampton Cove, Owens Crossroads area. Yep. If you're in Hampton Cove, Owens Crossroads, Berkeley, as far towards the east as Paint Rock, you see right there behind me along Highway 72, Hampton Cove, McMullen Cove, Berkeley, Highland Park, River Ridge, Owens Crossroads, I would go ahead and start seeking shelter right now. I would go into a very interior portion of your home. I would try to recommend that you do this as a tornado precaution. So take your tornado precautions for this area of damaging winds, because as Fred mentioned there in the background, if we're getting 60 from the airport and this is showing about 70 to 75 mile per hour winds here, there's most likely going to be 70 mile an hour winds with this. It is moving over Green Mountain right now, and the thing is, once it moves down that backside of the mountain, it could possibly pick up some momentum and translate those winds even better down towards the surface. So we're out along Highway 431 here from Owens Crossroads up to the intersection of you've got Old Highway 431 and the Cecil Ashburn. I think it's actually Sutton Road when it actually intersects Highway 431 right
here,
there. Yeah, Sutton Road right there, south towards Owens Crossroads, and that intersection there at Owens Crossroads, that traffic light, that's where the bulk of the wind looks like it's going to be located right now. This could easily be doing some damage. So we're talking about knocking trees down, maybe even knocking some trees on some houses, power lines down, power outages. And this is moving into a very heavily populated area here of southeast Huntsville and southeastern Madison County. So if there is any damage being done in this area, we are going to know about it very, very quickly. They are seeing, Katie from the Weather Service in Huntsville is seeing that signature. They're seeing that, and so they're going to be upping the warning to 70 mile per hour winds. So that's going to impact that warning to move it from a just kind of standard severe thunderstorm warning to a considerable severe thunderstorm warning. So there is damage most likely being done here. Let's go ahead and do, I know we did an overall storm track, back it out just a little bit and do a fan track on that, not a squall, do a fan track and take it out at about 40 to 45 miles per hour, because that's going to be that heightened area. That's pretty good right here. So this is going to basically just highlight that severe thunderstorm part that's going to have that 60 to 70 mile an hour wind. So Robert Trent Jones Golf Course in Hampton Cove 236, Berkeley 237, McMullen Cove at 241, Gurley 244, Paint Rock 245, Woodville 249, Pleasant Groves, Holly Tree around 257 to 258, and Aspel 258 as well. That's going to be into parts of Jackson County here. So this looks like it's strictly going to be Hampton Cove, Berkeley over towards Gurley, McMullen Cove, and the Paint Rock area for a heightened area of damaging winds anywhere from 60 to 70 miles per hour. That looks like that's where the majority of the wind is going to be focusing. If you're in downtown Huntsville, if you're along Airport Road, if you're down South Parkway, down towards the Grissom High School, English Village area, down towards the Farley Community, Sandhurst Park, this is all to your east right now. You're probably still seeing some gusty winds along the Parkway, but I think the worst of the winds have now crossed the Parkway and is now firmly established into parts of southeastern Huntsville from about, I would say, roughly Montesano down into Hampton Cove, and then again, like I mentioned, that kind of heightened area right there moving across Highway 431 right now. Let's go back north real quick, because that was that other little spot that had some pretty significant wind potential with it up into Lincoln County, I should say. Yep, not northern Madison. And it looks like the bulk of the wind, is now east of Highway 231, and this is going to be getting close to Mulberry, Kelso, Flintville as well. And there's another community right down here. Zoom in just a little bit tighter. I'm blanking on what that community is down here. Howell Hill, Lincoln, I think it's just there. Yeah, Bucks Mill, Vantown. That's what I was thinking of right down here. So this is going to get very close to the Vantown area, Brighton, Flintville, Sycamore Swamp as well along Highway 64.
Yeah, I was about to.
So this is going to be that potential for some damaging winds around 50 to 60 miles per hour. Still seeing some 60, 65 right there, and that height is like what?
That's also about
1,000?
1,500 or so, 13,
Okay.
1,500.
So that's going to be easily translated down as well. So most likely seeing some damaging wind potential here from Kelso all the way down towards the Lincoln area in southern Lincoln County. This will continue to move to the east. So if we want to do a storm track on that, or kind of a squall track, yeah, from about Mulberry all the way down towards the county line. This is going to be moving into Franklin County here soon, maybe even clipping the southern portion of Moore County near the Marble Hill community. So Flintville 239, Elora 246, Huntland at 252, Belvedere at 258, Winchester 304, Cowan at 312, and Sherwood at 320. That's going to be here on the eastern parts of Franklin County. So that's that kind of other damaging wind potential here in Lincoln County. What are y'all seeing on the back end over there? It looked like y'all were kind of looking at something. Oh, he was getting okay, we're getting some clearing of the watches. That's what it is. Go ahead and let's do that. Let's go ahead and go to the watch warning map real quick and just kind of give another brief overview. We still have a severe thunderstorm watch here for parts of southern Tennessee from Giles County west. I think that will likely be trimmed back here very soon because they have trimmed back Limestone, Morgan, Coleman counties. It does look like Winston's still involved, but that's weather service down there in Birmingham, so they'll trim them back shortly. So basically, I would easily say if you're along and west of Interstate 65 right now, you have the all clear from this initial batch of storms. Again, like what we talked about earlier, we're going to watch to see if there's another batch that moves in later on tonight if the atmosphere can recover enough. So right now, as you see where the warnings are, that's going to be your danger zone for the potential for some damaging winds anywhere from the Fayetteville, Moore County area over towards Winchester, down towards the east side of Huntsville, Gurley, Paint Rock, all the way down towards Gunnersville, Boaz, and Arab as well. At least east of Arab, I should say at this point, and then further down to the south towards Etowah and Blount County. So here's another kind of broad overview from the radar perspective. Still watching, again, that damaging wind potential moving east of Fayetteville now. If you're north of Fayetteville, if you're near Petersburg, right? Yeah. Petersburg. I almost wanted to say Petersville for some reason. Shelbyville down towards Petersburg and Mulberry. It looks like that's really not too significant of some wind, maybe some gusty winds of 40 to 50. It looks like any 60 potential is right here from Mulberry down towards Flintville, as you see here. So yeah, still some gusty winds up there, but not looking severe. Definitely some severe winds here from Mulberry down towards Flintville, moving into eastern Lincoln County. So Elora over there towards the Huntland area in Franklin County, that's where you're going to be seeing those 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. And then down south from that, Plevna, New Market, Maysville, only seeing some gusty winds, maybe 40 to 50 miles per hour, maybe some 60 here near Maysville as I look at it closer, but our main focus is this big batch of wind that's moving across the southern part of Madison County between Hampton Cove and Owens Crossroads, and this is getting very close to the Paint Rock area and Woodville. So if you know anybody or you live in Paint Rock, Woodville, Pleasant Groves, Aspel, over there towards the Scottsboro area, Alabama Highway 65, Alabama Highway 79, and right along Highway 72, and even Alabama Highway 35, that kind of runs right back here towards Woodville. If you live in those general areas, this is moving towards your spot, and that is easily 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. We had confirmed 60 on the airport. So the fact that the radar is actually showing that this could be upwards of 70, I would very much agree that it is probably reaching 70 towards the ground. It looks like it's coming down just a little bit. That's no longer, that's still towards 60.
I think that's querying a different scan, so we'll wait a couple minutes.
Okay.
But matter of fact, new sweep's coming in right now, so we'll see how that looks.
While we wait for that, I know you can't hear me on Mike Taylor. OHX has cleared our Tennessee counties from them. From
Okay. Okay.
Only counties that are viewing are under the watch are Lincoln and Madison.
Okay, so basically 231 corridor and east at that point. So, all right, so there's that new scan. So, yeah, you're right. It was pixel querying the old one. So that is 66, 68, and 68. And you see that minus there. That just means it's going towards the radar. So that's going to be what the radar considers a negative value because it's seen coming towards it, not away from it. So 66, 68, 70. Looks like it updated there, maybe around 60. So still seeing damaging wind potential. This is southeast of McMullen Cove, getting very close to the southern part of Gurley. Kill Mountain Road is right here, so it's going right on top of Kill Mountain right now. It will go down Kill Mountain and impact the Paint Rock Valley area here right along Highway 72. And again, just like what happened when it crossed Green Mountain, that's another kind of higher end terrain feature right there with Kill Mountain. So once it goes down the backside of it, that wind could accelerate just a little bit more. So I would be a little bit more concerned here for Paint Rock areas down towards Woodville, that you might end up seeing some slightly higher potential at 65 to 70 mile per hour winds, easily doing damage potentially here across Highway 72. So now it looks like it's starting to move east of Madison right now. So again, we focused in on that. I know we still have a warning down towards the south, so let's take a look at that one. It looks like that the majority of the wind is now into, that's going to be, that's well into Marshall County at this point.
Yeah, so I would say Morgan County pretty much all clear in this sense from this
Go
storm.
back right here.
Yeah, sure. Wow, look at that.
What is that?
Let's see here on velocity.
That's nothing. Just a little bit of rotation. Again, there's so many storms out there where instead of having just a solid line at this point, it's just clusters of storms. So if they start interacting with terrain, each other, boundaries whatsoever, and we've been talking about it. We've been watching for quick spin-ups in case they do happen. So, but that's in Marshall County right now, and that would be moving into parts of DeKalb County. But as we all know, Sand Mountain Magic, and I've actually seen people, I mentioned that before, and people have commented, what's Sand Mountain Magic? It's for this area of northeast Alabama. This is for DeKalb County, Jackson County. So this is Sand Mountain right here from Henniger down towards Rainsville, all the way down towards the western or eastern side of Gunnersville and Lake Gunnersville. And then you have Lookout Mountain that is over here, and that's the one that goes up towards Chattanooga. So the whole Sand Mountain Magic aspect is you have that rise in terrain, and anytime you get storms that interact with that terrain, there usually ends up being a slightly higher chance at some of those brief spin-up tornadoes as it crosses up into that higher terrain. So that's why it's called Sand Mountain Magic, is you can have a line where it's just nothing, 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 and then it hits Sand Mountain, and then boom, just like that, you end up getting some tornadoes. So that's that whole Sand Mountain Magic kind of lore right there, if you will. So I've heard people ask, I've heard it said it before, and people were asking, hey, what is Sand Mountain Magic? Because it's not in our viewing area, but it is something that is very unique to parts of northeastern Alabama. So again, still watching all that line. Looks like the bulk of the damaging wind potential is, it looks like it's just now crossing into Jackson County right now. So this is Gurley south towards Paint Rock. So I can go ahead and give you an all clear if you're along Highway 431 from Hampton Cove down towards Owens Crossroads. If you're in that area, if you were taking your kind of tornado precautions and kind of hunkering down, you can kind of come out now. Still stay away from windows because there's still a lot of lightning with this storm. But it looks like the damaging wind potential is now moving east out of Madison County into parts of Jackson County for Paint Rock down towards Woodville, getting towards Pleasant Groves, maybe as far north as Holly Tree, and maybe as far east as Scottsboro. Scottsboro's going to be right here. So yeah, it looks like the bulk of that's now moving east across Madison County. Chase, I'm going to toss it over to you. Why don't you do a quick overview, and then we kind of wrap this up real quick, because it looks like at least that significant wind's moving out of our viewing area.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. And honestly, it looks like the bulk of that is already out of Madison County. And taking a look at the radar right now, that actually brings this part right up here northeast of Maysville into the question, but it doesn't look nearly as substantial as the other one did. We're talking still severe criteria right there around 60. This is about 1,000 feet up, so assuming maybe a 90% rate of translation down, that's still probably about severe, 50, 55, maybe up to 60 miles an hour. But especially as you head further north, maybe up down here near Flintville, there's a pretty good pocket of wind there. We'll have to keep watching that. But this, too, is also very, very close to moving out of our area, just a matter of minutes over into the counties east of us. For example, up here in Moore County, we're starting to see it push over there. And then further west, as we mentioned just a moment ago, there's really a whole lot of nothing going on. In Lawrenceburg, hey, look at that, not a speck of rain falling right here. The Shoals, same situation. Lightning is already off east of Cortland, east of Lawrence County, both Tennessee and Alabama, and the watches have been cleared from there. So I think we're starting to get in, for now, into a good spot. Of course, we'll watch for the redevelopment later. We've been kind of having some question marks in the air about that. But as far as this round is concerned, as what we've been watching, I would say slowly but surely, but it is moving out pretty quickly, actually. We're starting to see that get out of here with some haste. Matter of fact, we'll pull up the updated watch map because that does show.
Because Fred did mention that they finally did clear the southern Tennessee counties.
Yeah, so
at least outside of Lincoln and Madison.
Yep. So that's I'm liking where we're at right now as far. And there we go. They're trimming back the warnings too.
Madison's going to be done within the next 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, easily.
You really don't have a lot of time left there as far as the storms are concerned in terms of the severe criteria in either of these counties. They're pretty much parallel. Madison County, honestly. Give it 5 minutes even, and I would say we're probably done in Madison County with a severe gust. I think.
And even where those are, I mean, I know people still live out there, but that is very, very rural, mountainous area here across eastern Madison County.
Yeah, up here, I mean, that's pretty close to, unfortunately, where that EF2 was.
Yeah, Killingsworth Cove.
Killingsworth Cove, exactly. But even still, outside of there, it's very rural. You don't see a lot out there, and I think that brings us up to here now as far as where the main concern is for our area, because I think Madison County is just about done. I'd say give it maybe 5-10 more minutes, but even then I think we're very close to done as far as the severe criteria is concerned. Still a lot of lightning though. I bet in Gurley it's rocking and rolling down there. I mean, look at that. That's crazy, but
he's still got some stratiform lightning out behind the
all the way
cold pool area.
As far west as western Limestone County over here. You see
those are the great lightning strikes, especially at night when you have that line of storms that kind of comes through, and then you got what we call elevated instability that's left over. That's with that stratiform rain. If you want to pop on the reflectivity real quick, that's going to be this batch right here. That's what we call stratiform rain that's behind the main line or cluster of storms. So all that lightning that you see happens way, way up in the atmosphere, and at night it is very nice to see because you can get very big streaks of lightning that just come for miles and miles and miles up above your head. So you're seeing some of that lightning, hearing that thunder and the stratiform rain behind that line. So yeah, Huntsville, Decatur, Athens, you're still kind of hearing the thunder outside, but know that your severe weather risk, at least for this afternoon, is pretty much over with. So we can go ahead, I think, and give an all clear for at least that eastern part of Madison County, because the bulk of the wind is going to end up, it's now firmly into the western side of Jackson. So if you're in Madison County from the county line on the eastern side with Jackson County and west, the entire county now, you're good to go. I know you're seeing that rain still and hearing that thunder and seeing some lightning, but your severe weather risk with this damaging wind is over. Can't say that though for Lincoln County right now. Just another quick pop in here, Flintville over towards Huntland and Elora. So you're going to be seeing this for the next 5 to 10 minutes. That's 63.
So, about
63. I thought it said 65 for a minute. And then down even towards Elora, so 60, maybe 65 miles per hour is very, very close to the radar site. So this is sampling this storm very well. So I imagine that's going to be reaching the ground. So damaging wind potential eastern side of Lincoln County from Kelso, Fayetteville, Highway 231 and west, you're good to go. This is not affecting you. This is eastern parts of Lincoln going into Franklin County. So another, I would say 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes max, and then this is out of your hair. And then we're going to be watching again like for the potential for redevelopment of some showers and storms. That wind actually looks like it's behind the line now.
I actually switched to reflectivity to kind of mention that usually where you'd see the first initial push of the strongest winds is along the line, and this might actually be sort of a rear inflow jet kind of kicking in through the back of it.
And that most likely would be elevated at that point.
Oh, exactly.
That's probably not reaching the ground then.
So, because once you get behind it here, you're not you don't really have a lot of moisture to translate it down to begin with, right? It likes to come down with rain, and we're not seeing quite as much back there. And usually that is just the punch to kind of support those winds on the leading edge. The leading edge is well into the Huntland and further east. I mean, we're talking over here in Lincoln County by about 5-10 miles now as far as the leading edge is concerned right here. Yeah. So I'm starting to suspect this might just be like a rear inflow jet type thing.
I think you're right. I'm actually curious about that. Do like a little pan back in time, and then we'll get things back to regular program as we get close to 3 o'clock here.
Sorry, I'm following it there.
Yeah, so that's firmly that kind of, because you even see that cell behind it start to collapse. So that is exactly what you're looking at. So that's most likely, you're still seeing gusts probably 30 to 40 in Elora, but the bulk of the wind is above you now because you're behind that line of storms. So the damaging wind aspect most likely for sure is getting close to Belvedere and Winchester now along Highway 64 with that first initial line, and then probably some other damaging wind potential behind it getting towards the Huntland community. So yeah, I think Lincoln County, you're firmly good to go now. I think the best damaging wind potential is going to now be firmly in Franklin County. So let's kind of do a DMA view real quick. You can keep HCX on here and just show again that this whole line for severe storms is now east of our viewing area. So Lincoln County, Madison County, Morgan County, you're all clear for now. Again, we stress we're watching to see what happens later on this evening. If there's some redevelopment of showers and storms with a possible severe weather risk, it's uncertain because all this might have just worked over the atmosphere enough to where we might not deal with it, or if people do deal with it, it's further down towards the south or west of us, and we're not really dealing with much of that. But I would just stay weather aware, stay with us here at the Tennessee Valley Weather Center for the latest, because there could be another round later on this evening that we will have to watch for some strong and even severe storm threats. So for right now, 2:51, we're going to toss it back to regular programming because now it appears we are all clear for our severe weather risk for at least this afternoon. And of course, like I said, we're watching for what happens later on this evening. So for Chief Meteorologist Fred Gossage, for Chase Wilson, I'm meteorologist Taylor Plott. Thanks for sticking with us here at the Tennessee Valley Weather Center. We'll keep you advised.
You're watching the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel.